All right, I call this meeting to order. Roll call is being taken electronically. This meeting of the Ripon Area School District Board of Education has been properly noticed in accordance with the Open Meeting Law and State Statute 19.84 and related legal references. We are one of Wisconsin's finest school districts, fostering excellence for all through innovation. Are there any written comments?
No, there isn't.
Anybody signed up to say anything?
No speakers are signed up.
Okay. Anybody have anything in the agenda they'd like to change the order of? Nothing, then we'll just accept it as presented. And move on to announcements of contributions to the district.
Okay, I wanted to share that Brewer Heating made a $10,000 donation, which is the fourth payment of a $40,000 pledge to Inglesfield Group. Monroe Electric LLC donated $2,000, which is the fourth payment of $10,000 pledge to Inglesfield Group. Modern Overhead Door, $2,000, the fourth payment of a $10,000 pledge to Inglesfield Group. MTV Builders Incorporated $1,000, which is the fourth payment of $5,000 pledge to the Inglesfield Group. Molash Construction, $2,000, which completes their $10,000 pledge to Inglesfield. Quality Plumbing LLC, $1,000 to complete their $5,000 pledge to Inglesfield. And then the following made over a $250 donation to the Ripon Education Foundation. Golden Rule Community Credit Union, Herbert Hilk, Joanne Hilbreath, Bill and Judy Neal, Bruce Patrick, Walsworth employees, and that was a bake sale to support Murray Park West. So we're thankful for all those donations.
We have no student representative here tonight, so we'll move on to new business. First item of new business is to consider approval of the High School Fellowship of Christian Athletes Club. We talked about it last month. I'm going to change the language of this slightly. And the whole issue of clubs is going to go to the policy committee to clarify everything. But the reason I'm going to say this is because this is going to be a non-district sponsored club. We have district sponsored clubs and non-district sponsored clubs. My understanding is that this will be a non-sponsored club, and that's why I'm not going to call it the RHS Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It is the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and they will be at the high school. So slight difference, and we're discovering that there's some policy issues, things in policy that we have not been following. So for example, we talked last month about only academic clubs being able to meet during instructional time. It turns out that was not a change that just got made by the administration. They may think they just did, but that's been our policy for many years. And so we've come in line with policy in saying that academic clubs can meet during instructional time. Non-academic clubs cannot meet during instructional time, so they can meet before school, during the lunch hour, after school. But they can't meet during advisory because that's part of instructional time. Furthermore, staff cannot be involved with clubs during the time they're being paid for. So we're going to sit down and read through the policies. There are about 3 of them, or 3 policies and an administrative guideline, to see if we can clarify the language and make sure that everybody understands what's going on. So this would be a non-sponsored club at the high school, and we talked about it last month. Is there a motion to approve the Fellowship of Christian Athletes Club as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Denise. And second, I hear a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I really appreciate that we're going to review policy on this. As I was looking through what I was able to find in policy, I just wasn't clear on several different points. And I think it would be extremely helpful to us going forward to get more specificity in the policies and make sure that they are front and center as we have other clubs that are coming in front of us.
Right. We've also discovered that the language varies slightly from policy to administrative guideline, and so it's important to know what the terms that we're using actually mean. So those are some of the things we want to actually clarify.
And it wouldn't hurt, as we review the policy, to look at state and federal law, make sure that everything, because that is constantly changing, let's make sure that everything is in alignment with that, and that we have a really thorough understanding of exactly what we're saying yes to and what we're saying no to.
Right. Other comments, questions? All right. I'm remembering to look at you, Lori, but speak up if you have something, because I'm
No, that's okay.
fine with it.
I was just gonna second, but that's fine.
Okay. All right, I'll call for a vote. You don't have the button?
I had to refresh.
I wonder if this is an electronic school board issue beyond Ripon. I didn't this time, but I certainly have this year much more than I've ever had to in the past.
Here we go.
Yeah. And the item is approved, 700 with 2 absent. Moving on, we have a slew of Neola policies. We'll take them one motion at a time just because otherwise we can't fit the approval button on the screen. So is there a motion to approve the first set of policies?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? As we said last month, these were mostly, they almost were just technical changes. Neola is going through all their policies and standardizing language in terms of pronoun use and things like that, so that they're not even standardizing terms. That's already been done. They're just bringing everything else into line. So most of these really are just that. If you're ready, I'll call for a vote. And that is approved also unanimously here. And I should say that these are first readings. There'll be a second reading of all these policies. So if you find something between now and the next meeting, feel free to bring it up. Is there a motion to approve the second lot of policies?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Lori.
Mhm.
Any comments or questions here?
I have one question, and maybe it's been answered in the past, about the, like, if something happens and the superintendent is incapacitated, it says something about, a designated person in charge that would take over. Do we have a designated person in charge
My
in that
person
instance?
is Chrissy Down.
Okay.
I don't know if she realized that came. She just smiled back at me, but yeah. It's my least favorite policy.
Yeah, so I was going to say, it's not Chrissy you should be looking at, the other one's going.
The other one's,
All right, I'll call for a vote. And that also passes unanimously. And we have a third lot. A motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Andy. second?
Second.
John. Comments or questions here? Seeing none? Call for the vote.
I'm all frozen here. Peter's outside too long.
You've got the button, but it just won't respond.
Okay. I'm still on the last one.
Oh, you still
I'm
have
still
it.
waiting for, Betsy and Gary to vote on the last motion. We're getting closer.
All right, and the third lot passes. We still have three more. All right, is there a motion to approve this set of policies?
So moved.
Second.
Steve and Lori, thank you. Comments or questions? Call for the vote. It is storming. It's always nice to have new things happen. I haven't seen this one before. You want to talk about legislative updates?
Good.
Okay. I think, the biggest thing is just a reminder that a number of us are headed off to the state convention this week. We're excited to do that. And glad that we got all of the snow last week so that it'll just be nice and clear as we travel this week. But we did complete our staff surveys and our parent surveys, and we're in the process of reviewing those. And I was excited to hear that a member of our team that we work with will be down there, so we'll go through some of that too. So all of that will be coming forward. So. And Tom, you're back in the seat for the delegate assembly, so that's good. And then you have, as part of updates overall, we have our new annual report in front of you as well. So.
The result came in and it passes unanimously. Is there a motion to approve the fifth set of policies?
Motion to approve.
Tom? And did I hear Lori as well?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments here? Yes.
I just had a question. There's one of the policies in this group deals with memorials, memorial boards, and it states, and I would agree that, in general, the board discourages the creation of physical memorials, but it gives the district the ability to approve them on a case-by-case basis, and the option was for whether the superintendent or the board would approve it, and I didn't see that one of those options
I
was,
think we pulled one here. I'll share it with you, because we do have those checked, I think.
We definitely took the
Fix
board.
that.
you did take the
We
board,
took the
right?
board.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, let me see if we can get a copy.
Because this actually came into play earlier this fall. We had a discussion about this earlier this fall.
Yeah, okay, good.
So this would be 62,
72.
7250 or is it the?
I should have written it down in my notes.
Is it, it's this one, the new options?
725001.
So there's a revised one, and so there's, it's this one.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't remember technically which one it was.
The new
Maybe I was
This is
looking at the wrong.
There's two on
Right
here.
here.
Oh, one is,
So that was the reject.
One
New
says
option
revised and one
reject.
says new option
oh,
reject.
maybe I was looking at the wrong.
So this is, we did have kept what we had. The items were standardized. It was the five size. And this one connected to the other. Unique situations of school board majority.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, school drugs. The one that we approved is the
It's
one that
little
starts
higher
out.
up. It is correct. It is listed correctly in there. It's the one further up. There's a 525001.
725001 reject.
Revised is but the higher up there's one that says revised. That's the one that's revised.
Yeah, there's two of them that are in there. There's the 725001 revised and the same thing 725001 new option reject.
Okay,
And
so,
we didn't take,
We
we
didn't take
we
that one,
rejected
but you
that
got
one.
to see the language that was.
So that was there for comparison purposes, so you could see the language that we kept as opposed to the language that they suggested.
so this says, approved in advance by the building administrator with concurrence of the
That's
Yeah,
Karen.
but if you read the first sentence, unique situations as determined by the school board majority. So the school board majority gets to determine whether it's actually going to happen or not.
Okay, very good. I have no concerns then.
Anything else? All right, call for the vote. See if we gave Annie's time to catch up with us.
Sounds good.
And that passes unanimously as well. And we have one more set. Is there a motion to approve?
So,
Thank you, Betsy.
second.
And Keith. Questions or comments on this one? Seeing nothing, call for the vote. And it's approved unanimously. So those all come back again for a second reading, so you have another chance to take a look at anything that you feel you need to. The next item is to consider approval of limits to open enrollment seats for 24-25. Is there a motion to approve the open enrollment seats as presented?
So moved. Second.
Comments or questions?
I just had a question about Odyssey. It appears that we can accommodate a lot more students in Odyssey, which is great. Would that require, if we were to meet that capacity, would that require any additional staffing? Or is that,
We originally had talked about kind of that 1-to-40 ratio. We haven't ever pushed it that high, but this is kind of based on that,
oh, okay.
that kind of ratio. We did that year with COVID at a time right before the school year started when we were adding staff.
Any other questions? All right, I'll call for the vote. passes unanimously as well. Which takes us to personnel. And we have an item to hire 2 people. We'll take them together. Is there a motion to approve the hiring of Jean?
I'll move.
Thank you, Lori.
Second?
Any questions?
I just have a statement
Good.
of support for Haley Laker. She is a relative of mine, but separated, I think, far enough for her to be able to vote. She is my niece's daughter, and she has been involved with children in some capacity for her whole life. And she has several younger siblings. She is just, she's been with either Boys and Girls Club or Brothers and Sisters all through college. I can't remember which one. But she's very personable, very, just really good with young children. So it's an endorsement.
Your team concurred.
We did.
Yeah.
All right, I'll call for the vote. And their hiring is confirmed. Consent agenda, is there any item on the consent agenda that anybody needs to have removed or would like to have removed? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion to approve.
Done?
I'll second.
And you may vote.
I think I'm out of sync. Let's see.
Yeah, you're okay. Now everybody's got it. And the consent agenda passes unanimously. So possible upcoming action items. And the first action item, or possible, this would come next month, is to consider acceptance of Journey Project School's request to end the 5-year local agreement 2 years early at the end of the 23-24 school year, this school year. So there are 3 motions in a row that all have to deal with this situation here. So, any comments, questions, or Mary, anything you want to say or response?
I just really appreciate the opportunity to present this to the board and have this come up for a vote. It's been something that has become very apparent is very at the forefront of my staff's minds, and I think it's what's best for the community going forward based on all the feedback that I have received throughout this process. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on the items for you.
So with all of these different items that we have pertaining to the school, let's just assume that they pass. What then does the school look like? What does the classroom structure look like going forward?
So what I have planned after it would be approved is I am working right now to develop a teacher leadership team. That teacher leadership team would have a 4K representative, a kindergarten first and second grade representative from each building, 2 special ed reps, a pupil services rep, a support staff representative, and then we would be meeting every other week to have those conversations to really define some of those practices. What I really see is that it's a marriage of both schools. It's taking those best practices from both schools and combining them into a super model of education to really benefit all the students across the entire building. That teacher leadership team would then bring back some of our work to our whole staff to get that staff buy-in and make sure that we are representing the voice of the entire building. Continuously going back and forth with those two teams as we create that mission and vision, what the model of education will look like and so forth.
Okay, so if I'm a parent with a child going into the school, what am I seeing and what is my child experiencing as we transition?
Your child is going to experience some project-based learning, just like there is in Journey. That's already very prevalent in a lot of our curriculum materials that we have already. They are also going to have some of that play-based learning. And then we will take some of that learning that we've taken with the competency-based and I think take a little bit of a twist on that and really look at how we can use that for an intervention process to really bring up the level of all students as we go forward. So they're going to be seeing all those different components interwoven into their school day as they go through the day.
But currently, both schools have the same curriculum, right?
The same curriculum, yes. Yep, and that wouldn't change.
So that makes it easy, from that point of view, makes it easier.
Absolutely.
I have a comment. I was able to attend the community engagement the other day, and you did a wonderful job presenting. I think your staff did a great job answering a lot of parent questions. A question I would have is, did you get anything in the feedback that concerned you or that?
No, it was actually all very, very favorable. So as I went, as parents left the meeting, they were asked to fill out a feedback form. One of the top questions on there was really just indicating their comfortable, or their level of comfortability with this change on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being high. There were 13 responses. 11 of those individuals rated it at a 5 and 2 at a 4. And there was one with no response. And then the comments that were in the, at the bottom of the sheet were really very well thought out. They saw a lot of the positives. Some of the things that they saw as, I'll call them weaknesses, or just things to kind of keep out for, were just really good indicators for things that I think we thought through already and we're really aware of. We want to make sure we don't fall into those pitfalls. But nothing actually arose that would lead to any indication of any worries about that taking place.
There were some questions just like yours, very similar, like what is it going to look like for my child? So I think you did a good job in answering.
Anything else from anybody?
We have staff here, I'd love to introduce them.
I do.
Their role in this process.
Yeah, we actually have both of our governance council presidents. We have Katie Grady and Kelly Nielsen representing the Journey and Barlow Park, they're reversed. And then we have Heidi Hopp and Rachel Minch, who are from Barlow Park staff here as well. So we appreciate them coming tonight to lend their voices if they were needed.
Thank you.
And maybe not a spoiler alert, but Katie and Kelly both are, have chosen to run for school committees. Kind of dual purpose. here.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Lori.
Anybody have, so I've kind of dealt with the three of them, they're all go together, so any questions about any of the other two? I only have one pulled up. These are a package to make sure that everything goes through in a way that makes it easier to deal with federal grant as well, keeping the number of the schools in.
We wanted to just be really clear about how the schools come together, and that truly, as David said, was really for the grant purposes, because we have a school number that's tied to that, and we want to make sure that it's board approved as we look at what happens with that community grants.
All right, thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
So next item then is to consider approval of a middle school math meet stipend. Jessica Huser has been doing this, but now she's in charge of Brave at Murray Park. And she's been doing it out of the goodness of her heart, volunteer, so. Any comments or questions about possible stipend for? So 3 meets is what they've just been, yeah, okay. All right, we'll move on. Consider approval of RHS Social Justice Alliance Club. And we'll make sure about this before we actually vote on it. I believe this, however, will be a sponsored academic club. Is that correct, Bill?
That's correct.
Any questions?
I just have a question, just for clarification on something though. Instead of be tied to an academic and then see like current events or something, is there a specific class that it would be tied to or?
I would say department, I would say social studies.
Okay, okay. That's, I kind of figured that, but I just
Right, the social justice.
see for clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, if you look, I might get the number wrong, it's like 2170 or something like that. It lays out specifically to be a sponsored club. You have to deal with academic goals of the district, and so you can see the kinds of things that are listed in the policy.
Yeah, just a comment. I had a big smile when I was reading this. I love the way that this is striving to take some of the issues that are at the forefront of what's happening in our society and tying them back to academic subjects. And if I could put a little pitch in there, don't forget rhetoric, communication, persuasion, and all of the different tactics that are used by these movements in order to get their point across, because that's another great opportunity. And of course, communication and rhetoric is very near and dear to me. So I just love it when we teach people to be very intentional about that and to be very planful about how they use communication when they're trying to get their point across and when they're trying to advocate for change. So I really enjoyed reading this, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this club will do.
All right, we'll move on and we'll go back to Mary.
Yeah, I was just gonna wrap up and say that you do have your annual report here. Maybe it's out.
It's out already.
Yeah.
That is,
Yeah,
So
I think this is the best one yet. It's
keep
very
trying to
well
add more
organized,
in.
the graphics are great, the graphs are great, it's very informative. So, Jolene and Mary,
You may not have yours from 6 years ago when we did our very first one, but we just for fun, we'll have to bring a copy back next month, or give you a copy because when we put them next to each other, you can see our homework again. But yeah, just trying to put everything we can, and we so appreciate the feedback that we receive from board members or community members as they see things or they'll hand me something. Oh, I got this, somebody else's annual report, and they'll hand it to us, and Julie and I just kind of store those up throughout the year to see if there's something new and different that we can do.
And an alumni is actually the designer that creates this.
oh, nice.
So that's kind of,
Yeah, we work
Nice
back
too.
and forth and make adjustments and changes, but yeah, it is amazing to watch the process in real time when your idea actually becomes something. So it's been very exciting.
okay, we've got teaching and learning reports, so the curriculum department highlights for January. Anybody have any questions for Chrissy or comments?
The grant, is that, going to require a lot of work? We're going to chip that $5,000 quickly, or?
Define a lot, I guess. I think the scope
Chrissy,
of
do you
our
wanna-
work
Do
is.
you want to come up just so that you're on the mic?
Good question, Andy, right, it always requires work, but I would say that the majority of the work that is going to be done with that is really just aligning the scope and sequence to our already adopted social studies curriculum. Brittany Chakowski has actually served on a task force in developing that scope and sequence, so we will have, I guess, the advantage of having her assist with this. And really it's just an intention, again, to pull in some of those civics-minded topics and really align it to the work that we've already done with our social studies curriculum. So I don't anticipate it to be a ton of work. The resources that we have adopted actually align really well to the civics scope and sequence already. So it will really be more of a matter of bringing our social studies team together to have those conversations. and making sure that we are in good alignment. So,
Good,
yeah,
thank
we're
you.
excited about that. It gives us an opportunity to fund the work that we do, which outside of district funding, which is really helpful. So,
Always like that.
All right, business-related reports. Any question about the interim budget report? No. Food service interim budget report. Okay, then we get to the annual Inglesfield update. Any comments, questions about that? So congratulations, Tom, on the great work that you've been a piece of.
More good things to come.
All right, move on to the school operations reports. Comments about any of the schools?
I just always have to thank you for doing them. I mean, I know their work, and it's always nice to just see a snippet of what's going on. So I appreciate that you take the time to give us a little highlight.
All right. That takes us to the end of the open session. Is there a motion to convene to closed session?
Can I just say something quick?
Go ahead, Laurie.
My husband is a custodian at the high school, so I'm a little biased here, but I just wanted to give a shout out to all the custodians and maintenance person who worked a good part of the weekend to get everything ready for school today. Plowing and shoveling and salting and everything.
They do an amazing job.
Here,
Mhm.
Here.
Yeah, well deserved, thank you.
So, a motion to move into closed session.
So moved.
Thank you, Betsy. A second.
Second.
And we'll vote.
Thank you both for all your work on it.
All right, everybody else, thank you very much for coming. Go home and stay warm.